Just gonna test the sound. All right. Good evening, everyone. I'm Zen Master Sebastian Rizzon, founder of the Mind Light Way School of Zen, and I host these guided meditations on the first Thursday of every month, and Dharma Talks on the third Thursday of every month from 7 to 8 p.m. You can also find more guided meditations, Dharma Talks, and curated teachings on the Mind Light Way YouTube School of Zen, the Mind Light Way School of Zen YouTube channel. So, before we begin tonight, ask yourself one simple question. Where is your mind right now? Is it here? Or is it still caught up in something that happened earlier today? Or is it already moving towards what you have to do next? Most of the time, our attention is divided. Part of it's here, part of it's remembering, part of it's planning, and part of it's reacting to whatever thoughts and emotions are passing through. That's why we meditate. Zen practice trains the mind to become clear by bringing our full attention into this moment. Tonight, we're going to practice several forms of sitting meditation. We'll use breath, sound, a mantra, and a koan. And we'll also explore the awareness that's present before our thoughts. Each one is a different method, but the purpose is the same: to focus the mind on one clear point. The goal isn't to stop every thought. The goal is to notice when your attention has wandered and bring it back. The act of coming back is the practice. To begin, find a comfortable position. If you're sitting on the floor, I usually suggest crossing your legs. If you're in a chair at home, you can just sit with your feet flat on the floor. Try to sit upright, but also try to relax. Let your hands rest in the mudra position, which is right hand, left hand, touching your thumbs, centered in your lap. If you get uncomfortable in this position, feel free to adjust your position to something more comfortable. The most important thing is that you try to stay upright and not slouch so that you don't want to hurt your back or your neck or anything unconsciously. But don't be too attached to the position. If it's very painful, feel free to adjust that. And you can keep your eyes opened or closed for now. Some of them I will ask you to close your eyes, but for this one, either is fine. If your eyes are open, just have your gaze at a 45-degree angle towards the floor. So we'll begin tonight with mind-heart breathing. Start by breathing a little bit slower and a little bit deeper than you usually do. Bring your attention to the center of your chest as you breathe. You can place one hand over your heart if that helps you focus. As you breathe in, feel the breath collecting all of the scattered energy of your thoughts and bringing it from your head into your chest and into your heart. As you breathe out, release the tension in your body. Keep breathing slow, deep, and steady. Let the mind, heart, and body come together in each breath. If your attention moves back into thoughts, plans, or worries, bring it back to your breath. Breathe in. Bring the energy from the thoughts in your head into your chest and heart. Breathe out. Release the tension in the body with your breath. This breathing practice can help you reset yourself. You can use it anytime throughout the day. In the morning when you wake up, before you enter a difficult situation, before you go to sleep. You can use it anytime your thoughts feel scattered and you need to bring yourself back into the moment. For the next few minutes, just continue breathing this way. Slow and deep breath in. Bring the energy from all around your body into your heart. Slow breath out. Release the tension in your body. Continue like this for the next few minutes. Now we'll continue with a different breathing meditation. In this practice, the breath continues to be the focal point of the meditation. You don't need to change your breathing, just breathe naturally. On each exhale, count silently to yourself. Keep counting each breath as it comes and goes. If you lose count, that means your attention has wandered. When you notice this, just start again at 1. Don't criticize yourself, and try not to follow the thought that pulled you away. Just come back to the breath. Count each breath. If your attention wanders and you lose count, return to 1. For the next meditation, we'll use sound as the focal point. I'll ring the singing bowls, and all you need to do is listen with your full attention. Just listen with your eyes closed. Let the sound fill your awareness. Follow the sound as it begins. Stay with it as it expands. And stay with it as it fades. When the sound disappears, keep listening. If thoughts come up, don't follow them. Return to listening. Let the sound fill your mind. There's no need to reach for anything. Let your attention become one with the sound. For our next meditation, we'll use a mantra. A mantra is simply a point to focus on during meditation. If you just try to stop yourself from thinking, thoughts will inevitably keep coming up. But when you focus on a mantra, you give the mind something to do. You direct your attention with purpose. For this meditation, I suggest using the mantra Kwanseum Bosal. Kwanseum Bosal is the name of the bodhisattva of love and compassion in Korean Zen. A bodhisattva is an enlightened being dedicated to helping others awaken. Kwanseum Bosal is said to have thousands of eyes and thousands of hands, so she can see the suffering of everyone and help those who call out her name. As you repeat this mantra, your mind opens a channel for love and compassion to come to you. Don't analyze the mantra or think about the meaning. Just repeat the mantra with your full attention. Kwanseum Bosal. If your mind wanders, come back to the mantra. If emotions arise, come back to the mantra. If you notice yourself thinking about the meditation, come back to the mantra. Keep placing your attention on the sound and rhythm of the words. Kwanseum Bosal, Kwanseum Bosal, Kwanseum Bosal. One clear point of focus. Now close your eyes and continue focusing on the mantra for a few minutes. Now that we've used the breath, sound, and mantra to focus the mind, we'll turn our attention towards our own awareness. For this meditation, close your eyes if they're not already closed. Imagine that you're floating in a vast, empty space. There's no light. There's no sound. You can't see anything. You can't hear anything. There's no smell, no taste, no sensation of touching anything around you. You have no memory. You don't know your name. You don't know where you are. You don't know how you got here. There's no sense of time. No past to think about. No future to anticipate. There's no reason to feel sadness, happiness, anxiety, or fear. There's no language to describe what is happening. There's nothing to do, nothing to think about, and nothing to react to. There's nothing to hold on to, nothing to push away, nothing to figure out. And yet, you are aware. Not aware of a thing, just aware. This is pure awareness. We all share this fundamental awareness. It's the ground of all experience. Rest in this awareness without trying to grasp it. Just be. This is the experience of being. My words can only point to it. They can't explain it for you. The moment we try to turn it into an idea, we've already moved away from the direct experience. So for the next few minutes, don't try to understand it. Just experience being as it is. This awareness we experience is always here. Meditation helps you clear away all of the distractions so you can notice what's been present the whole time. Zen points directly to this, not as a theory or a philosophy or a belief, but as the direct experience of what is here. Now we'll move into the last meditation by focusing on a critical phrase. This is a koan meditation, and a koan is a question, statement, or story that points beyond ordinary logical thinking. It isn't a puzzle to solve. It isn't asking for an intellectual answer. A koan gives the mind a question that can't be resolved through your ordinary thought process. Because of that, it cuts through the habits of the mind. It brings your attention directly into this moment. For this meditation, choose one short phrase or question. It could be, who am I? What is my mind? What is the true nature of reality? Choose one phrase that resonates with you and hold the question in your mind. Don't try to answer it with words or a story. Don't analyze it or turn it into a philosophy. Just hold the phrase in your awareness and keep returning to it. Repeat it like a mantra. Who am I? Who am I? Who am I? If thoughts arise, don't follow them. Return to the phrase. If an answer appears, don't hold on to it. Return to the phrase. If nothing happens, stay with the phrase. The purpose isn't to collect ideas. The purpose is to bring your whole mind to the question. Let the question gather your attention into one point. Let everything else fall away. Now begin. As we come to the end of our session, I'd like to leave you with a few closing thoughts. Zen is a practice about bringing the same focus, clarity, and awareness we've been cultivating tonight into everything we do. This is called moving meditation. Moving meditation means treating your actions as a mantra. It means bringing your full attention to what you're doing in each moment as you move through life. You can do moving meditation with any activity, but I find it easiest to practice when you do something you enjoy and something that naturally demands your attention and focus. For me, one of the best ways to practice moving meditation is through martial arts, but you could also practice this through activities like making art, dancing, playing music, playing a sport, riding a bike, or even cooking. Even something as simple as washing a cup or making your bed can become a meditation if you bring your full attention into the action. The point is not to observe yourself or notice every detail. The point is to focus completely on what you're doing. When you're fully engaged, the action itself holds your attention. The mind's not wandering into the past. It's not reaching into the future. It's not commenting on everything that's happening. Your mind, body, and action begin to work together. This is why activities like yoga, playing music, making art, and dance can be powerful forms of meditation. They require your attention. They give the mind something clear to focus on. The more you fully engage with the activity, the less room there is for the mind to split off into commentary, memory, or anticipation. The mind becomes clear because it's no longer divided by thoughts. You're not doing one thing while thinking about something else. You're simply focusing completely on the activity in front of you. That complete engagement expands your awareness. You become aware of the movement, the space, the timing, the conditions around you, and your relationship to everything happening in that moment. But you don't get there by trying to notice everything. You get there by focusing completely on what you're doing. That's how meditation becomes integrated into your life. When you practice even a little bit every day, even 5 minutes of sitting meditation in the morning, or one ordinary task done with your complete attention, you're training your mind to become clear. Each day, each moment you practice, the clarity deepens a little more. Over time, these practices begin to connect throughout your life. The focus you cultivate while practicing begins to appear while you're walking, working, creating, speaking, listening, and responding to the conditions of your life. Eventually, you realize everything you do and anything you do can be a meditation. Whether you're driving in traffic, having a conversation, sending an email, each moment becomes a chance to fully engage with what's happening. The key is to be intentional. Focus your mind. Treat the activity as a meditation. When every action becomes a meditation, the boundary between yourself, what you're doing, and the world begins to dissolve. Then you experience the true nature of reality directly in every moment. That's where wisdom comes from. And this is the heart of Zen practice. Thank you for joining me tonight. I hope you're able to take some of this and apply it to your life a little bit every day. That would be the key, is not to just do it while you're here, but take a little bit, anything that resonates with you, anything that, take the stuff that's easier for you first and put a little bit of that into your day. A little bit every day makes a huge difference over time. It may seem like insignificant at first, but over time it really starts to change the way you approach everything you do. With that, I'll just say I always take questions. So if anybody has questions about Zen, about meditation, about the mind, anything we talked about, or anything that's on your mind about life, if you have a question, feel free to ask. I'm sure other people, if you have a question, other people probably share the same question. So happy to answer any questions from here or in the live chat online as well. But if anybody has them here, the live chat usually lags a little bit, so feel free to ask anything. Any questions? You got a question?
Yeah, I'm just gonna.
This is my favorite part too, so don't hold back. Let's start with you. Maybe that'll open it up.
Okay, asking for a friend.
Yeah.
So I noticed that Zen as a practice is a little bit dismissive of like crystals and astrology and like, other forms, rituals, ceremonies, like other forms of spiritual practice, and like really it's kind of bare bones with meditation or like focus.
What makes you say it's dismissive?
Some talks we had.
Okay, so that's a comment, right? So
Yeah.
is there a question in there?
Yes. So the question is it? And
Is it?
Yes.
Okay.
In what sense? I guess like a little clarity on where does Zen stand in regards to astrology and crystals and full moon rituals and these kind of stuff.
Okay, so I'm going to repeat that so other people can hear it. The question was that they interpreted Zen to be dismissive of certain things, like certain practices, like or use of crystals, astrology, things like this, and that it's bare bones and focuses on meditation. And her question is it actually like that? And I wouldn't say it's dismissive per se. Like, it's dismissive only in the sense that if you're attached or fixated on other things, external things, giving you something you need, I think it's trying to teach you that you don't necessarily need those things. So, and the bigger question, I think maybe why you might interpret it as dismissive is because if someone says, I need astrology to tell me what to do, or I need a crystal to make me feel a certain way, even if it's just like, oh, this is for good luck or whatever, the question is why? Why do you feel that way? Why does it work that way? How does it work? Does it actually work? It's not dismissing, it's asking. It's asking you to ask that question about yourself, about this ritual, about this practice, and understand, like, it could be true, but you have to prove it to yourself. Zen always asks you to prove it to yourself. So if you believe in something, Zen will always ask you to examine that belief and find any unquestioned assumptions and question them. and find out through yourself what the truth is. So it's a form of examination. Even if you say, oh, I know, well, how do you know? And if you say, I know this way, it will say then, well, who knows? So even it will keep asking deeper and deeper questions and asking you to go beyond stories, explanations, and even thoughts, and understand what is underlying all of that. So I can see, why you might think of it that way, especially, I know we've had conversations where I said, oh, you don't need that. Just like, see if you can find, if you do need it, why, and if you actually do need that. Or if you might have access to the same things that you think that's giving you through yourself. So I wouldn't say, it is, it would say the same thing about, God or something like that. Like, okay, you believe in God, okay, what is that? How do you know? How does this affect you? Like, examine those questions. It's not going to say it's true or false. Only you can find that answer in yourself. So I understand all of these words are a symbol of something, but what are they a symbol of? And if it's energy or something like that, well, okay, what is underlying all of that? What is making energy is movement of something. What's making it move? What started that movement? So anytime you have a quick solution or a quick answer, the practice, the process, the questioning, is the contemplation. That's all part of Zen practice. But the point is not to give you answers or to tell you what's right or wrong. It's to keep asking you, to keep looking deeper, to keep peeling off the layers, and to find out what's true and prove it to yourself, not just believe. Any more questions about that? Yes.
I don't know if anyone else to go before, like, ask a question.
Yes.
What's your perspective on Zen in relation to religion, specifically Buddhism? Because knowing you come from like this like Korean lineage and like Zen itself, like the word has like like this like Buddhist origin.
Mm-hmm.
But also like I feel like we have like here our emphasis is mostly on like meditation itself, and so like I just don't know like how to think about Zen meditation and then like Buddhism itself. Like where do you see, like how do you see all of them fit together?
Okay, great question. So the question I'm just going to repeat in case people online didn't hear. It's about Zen and religion and my perspective on religion and Buddhism, which can be considered a religion, I guess, depending on who you ask. A little bit of it comes down to definitions. What do you mean by some of these words? But I'll kind of define as I talk, I guess. As far as Buddhism and Zen, I'll start there. I'll kind of work backwards. What does Buddhism mean? To me, it means people who follow the teachings of, or the people who follow the teachings of Buddha. there's not necessarily any what I would consider religious element to that. And, I think there are definitely people who apply different belief systems to that based on what they have read in the teaching. Zen and me personally, I don't traditionally do that. I am always using the teachings of Buddha, but it's only as a pointer to something deeper. And that's what I'm teaching here. And the word Zen comes from the what is now India, that region, and from the Sanskrit words dhyana and chana. Dhyana or jhana in Pali or Sanskrit. And in China it became chana, and they just shortened it to chan. So that all has, and then in America they call it Zen. So it's all, those are all the same, pointing to the same word. And in the sutras, the Zen masters were, when they first came to China, they were called Lonkavatra masters. And Lonkavatra masters because they were always referring to the Lonkavatra Sutra, which is the Buddha's teachings from Sri Lanka, when that region. In that, it talks about dhyana, and it defines it as 4 stages. I've written a blog on this if you ever want to check out my Substack, but I'll kind of summarize it. But essentially, it means being fully engaged with what is. They call it thusness or suchness, or just being fully engaged with what is present. So that's literally what jhana or chana or chan means. They have 4 stages, but Zen masters typically said 4 stages are just a division in themselves. So it's just all as it is, and that's really all you need to know. And that's kind of what my meditations, my teachings tonight, we're trying to point to in their own way. As far as the religion and Buddhism, I think if you take what I just said about experience as it is, and you remove all of the thoughts that divide it into moments, into time, into experience, into you and me, into this and that, then you end up with oneness, or just being, or like the being I was trying to point to you tonight in the one meditation where I was saying, you don't have anything in your mind. What's there? That's that oneness, I think, is. And now here's where I'm a little bit out of my league, because I'm going to start to talk about other religions, which I'm not so familiar with. But my belief is like that all of these religions are trying to point you back to this oneness. I think all of them, including Buddhism, have kind of been hijacked at different periods of their history and used to control and to do, used to consolidate power in different ways. So I think they've all gone through periods of this, but I think, at the heart, they're all kind of pointing you to the oneness with God, unity with God, like a holy trinity, these 3 things that are somehow one. I think they all have something like that in the teaching somewhere. So I personally believe it's for the people who maybe originally were the teachers, which is probably not the teaching we're receiving, even in Buddhism or whatever. It's not. I think they're it's easy to misinterpret these things and to purposely corrupt the teachings for your own means. So I think, but I do believe that they're all trying to point to the same thing ultimately. And as far as I'm concerned with Zen, you could be a Zen Buddhist, Zen atheist, Zen agnostic, Zen Muslim, Zen Jewish, Zen Christian. It doesn't matter, as long as, like, the practice is pretty much, it doesn't care about your beliefs, but it does ask you to question them and to find out, like, what are these words? What are they pointing to? What is that experience that they're trying to guide you to? And the Zen system and how it, like, differs from a lot of these religious practices or Buddhist practices is not that it's pointing to someplace different. It's that a lot of them take a different approach. It's like, do these things and then you get the oneness. Zen just says forget about all of that and you get the oneness, and then like a lot of these things that the other people are teaching just naturally come out of that, like compassion, love. That's what you're left with when there's only one. You only want to have harmony with whatever you're surrounded by, because it's all part of you. So that's me explaining something, but I'm not asking you to believe that. I'm asking you to find out if that's true by looking in yourself. Any more questions about that?
I just had a comment. From like studying Zen history, it's really interesting how they're not like, this is what enlightenment is like. It's always like, you'll know it when you know it. Like when you get it, you know it is enlightenment.
Yeah, you won't ask anybody after that. You'll know. Yeah, you study Zen history?
I did back in college.
Oh, okay. I'm kind of a novice Zen history person, so correct me if I'm wrong on all this. I lived in a Zen temple for 16 years, and we never talked about history of Buddhism, of any of these, never read sutras. It was all like washing dishes, cleaning the temple, doing martial arts. There was occasionally like stories, anecdotes of past things, but it was never really clear to me whether, they're just stories or kind of like myth, or I think the point from my point of view was just they're putting a lesson in this story, whether it's historically based or actually historical. The point is not whether that's true or not, whether the story, it's like, what is it pointing to in the same regard. So when I use Zen history or something somewhat historical, that's what I would hope people would take out of it. It's not that I'm saying this is true or this is that. It's like that this story, whether it's true or not, survived because they're trying to teach you something. So, yeah, but I do enjoy kind of seeing, because I've looked at, and I think my teacher was the same way. Like, he didn't really learn religious history. But in his teachings, I went back, after he passed away, and I was reading some of the sutras, and it's nearly verbatim for some of the stuff he told me. It's like a little different, more contemporary language, but when you kind of strip away and get to the core meaning, it's like very similar. And Zen never had any real, like, there's no Bible. It's all teacher to student transmission. Ultimately, they say that the true transmission is mind to mind, so it doesn't occur through words. But the teachings are typically, there are stories and poetry and things like that, but it's not like, none of it is like an official doctrine or anything like that. So yeah, I think it's always also supposed to always be taught in context of what is happening. So if you hear a story that's old and it's to someone about their specific situation, like that might not be generally good advice for everybody. It might have just been for that person at that particular time. And I think the Zen point of view is like all of these words are in some way misleading you. So you have to very pick and choose carefully what you say and give them in the context of when they're relevant. And that's what the skill of teaching is, and the skillful means, as they say. But that's why I think these Q&As are very good, because then I can get to the heart of some of these issues and questions. Anything else? Did you still have something you wanted to add?
I think we're going to piggyback on your comments. Would you say, I mean, is there comments or a question, but would you say that, that's my perspective at least, that Zen is really hard because it does ask you to question everything and then question it again, like, and then question the answer and question. So it is hard in the sense that you really have to at some point be comfortable with not knowing, be comfortable in that space of not knowing, because what astrology does or crystals build you a narrative, give you a narrative, and then you hold on to this narrative, and then it takes you like, it's kind of like a walking stick basically. And then Zen is like, throw away the walking stick and just like build the muscles in your legs, like just climb up that mountain with your hands and feet. And then build the muscles. So my comments are like, at least my experience doing Zen practicing Zen for a while is, while it is, I find it really hard because it really always challenges you, and you have to be in that state of not knowing, being comfortable not knowing. But it does do something where instead of like finding knowledge, outsourcing knowledge, it helps you build knowing or connect with and get knowing. And I think that's very valuable. So would you say Zen is really hard in that sense? Like, religion will give you an answer, will give you a narrative, whereas Zen just asks you to question.
I mean, I think it's all relative. I think Zen is as easy as letting go. But that's really difficult for most people to do. But really the teaching is very simple. So in that way, it's like, it's so simple people dismiss it because it sounds like this can possibly be valuable. You mean just focus on what I'm doing? Like, that's it? But the problem is people have so many attachments, so much things they've conditioned themselves to do, so many conditioned reactions. It's kind of, it's usually takes some, it's supposed to be effortless, it's just what's here, but it takes usually some effort to let go of those things. And that sounds kind of contradictory, like letting go should be easy, but if you're holding on tight and you think something is like a life preserver, but you don't realize you float by yourself, like you might be restricting yourself in some way. And I think that's really kind of the fear, is like people grow up thinking they need these things and never question it. And there are certain things, it's not like, I'm not ever saying you don't need anything, like you need to eat, you need a place to sleep, in America you need money, all of these things are true, but also like, what do you really need? it's often not nearly as much as people have convinced themselves of what they need. And a lot of times that extra need causes the extra need that they have not questioned is what is a lot of times causing additional suffering in their life. And yeah, so is it hard or easy? I think for most people, it's hard. My time living in the temple was one of the hardest times, like hardest I've ever worked on myself, physically and like mentally. But it was very simple. Like the instructions are very simple. It's just hard to do consistently, and then, and there's always ups and downs. So during the downs, it feels incredibly hard. But there was always something very rewarding about it, in that the way it was changing my life and the way it was making me feel, it made it easy to do something that I found very difficult. If that, but so it's not, I don't have a simple answer for you. In theory, it's just as easy as focusing on what's in front of you, which is easy to do for short periods of time, but it's like the sustaining that. And when you're focused like that, you can't hold on to anything. You, like, thoughts come, okay, that's fine, but you can't hold on to them because you're completely engaged with what you're doing. You can engage with your thoughts, but it's like, it's the nothing sticks in the same way when you learn to train your mind like that. And then you're able to take in so much more information, you're expanding your awareness, and you're able to process it so much faster because you're not circulating things that don't need to be there. So in that way, like, it made a huge impact on my life, on my work. I was working as an engineer for parts of that time. My bosses during my interviews were like saying like how much better I was working. And I felt more happy than I had, at that time. Without much honestly changing. Like, it wasn't like all of my problems went away. It was just like my ability to deal with them, my ability to let them go, and my ability to stay focused on what I wanted and what I wanted to do and where I wanted to move my life were so much easier. So even if you don't believe in enlightenment, I think there's a lot of like power in learning to focus your mind like that. And I think I always, like, when I first moved in, I believed in enlightenment, I'll say. Like, my teacher was, from my perspective, I couldn't explain how he was other than either he was enlightened or he was like magical. So he could do, like, he was like super intuitive. He was very old, but he was like a martial arts master. He did like all of these crazy moves at like a really high, like really old. And so I couldn't understand him and how he was. So I believed in it, but I also wasn't sure if it was possible. But I think I wanted to believe it, and I did believe it. But the idea was like he would say to me too, you have to prove it to yourself. And I would say, how? And he'd just say, just keep doing the things I'm telling you to do, like around the temple. And I'm like, okay, how do I get to do like amazing things like you though? But over time, like, I saw like my life totally changed, and it really made a huge difference in like what I was doing, how I was doing, the quality of what I was doing. the outcomes I was aiming for and getting in different aspects of my life. Not everything was perfect, but it was just a noticeable improvement. Not every day, but over like periods of time. Some days you would get things that just happen and you're like, that's pretty amazing. But then, the next day something bad happens. But over time, it's just like these things add up and you're like, yeah, this is making a cumulative difference in my life. So I think there's a lot of, that's what kept me going. Well, any more questions? We will be back here in 2 weeks if anybody has more for the Dharma talk. That'll be my main teaching for the public every month is the Dharma talk. So it's less meditation. Well, it's kind of a different balance, but a bit more focus on teaching about Zen. Usually I'll have some topic that I've been having people ask about that I don't want to expand on or something like that. So, but I do take questions at the end of that too. So you're welcome to come back and join us if anything pops into your mind in the next few weeks. Yeah, and if you want to find our schedule, it's on mindlightway.org, and it's on the meetup page if you came through that. Yeah, and if you want to continue and stay connected with our community, we have an inner circle membership and groups where we get together and talk about Zen and discuss, it's more of a back and forth and a round table where you can talk about your life, how it's affecting you, those kind of things. That's an online group, so, and we have different events and things like that you get invited to. If you want to dig deeper into Zen and train and learn more about Zen and learn how to teach and be a teacher, we have a program for that called the Path to Mastery. So you can talk to me about that if you're interested, or if you want to check out our website, you can find out more about that program. And we have a lot of free programming. So we have these guided meditations, Dharma talks. We also have art groups and writing groups where we get together and meditate and work on our creative projects. And then we have workshops, full moon ceremonies, Bollywood dance, which Ashita teaches. So these are all things, different ways, different pathways in. And we do try to keep all of these teachings free and open to the general public, but we are a nonprofit and we rely solely on donations. So if you'd like to support us, we definitely appreciate the support. And you can find the information on the back table on your way out the door or in the description on the YouTube channel. We really appreciate you coming out and joining us and being part of our community. Community is a pillar of Zen practice, being together, practicing together, helping each other. So you're always welcome back to join us. I hope you do. And thank you so much all for coming tonight.